Hello, my fantastic factions of followers, fans, and freaks of fun Fanicom festivities. I am ZiplockBob, one of the two hosts of Sequel Syndrome Podcast, a talk show about video games and their culture, design, and psychology. And now, I'm going to welcome back and pass you over to our Master of Ceremonies, our Commandant Commemoration, and other things that I'm probably going to screw up saying. The Zez!
Hello. I'm back. I wasn't here last week. Today we are joined by RadHazard1 to talk about why Sega quit making video game consoles. How you doing, Rad?
Diddly ho.
What have you been playing lately, Rad?
Lately I've been stuck on Battlefield 1. You know, it's for me it's one of those games that it's rage-inducing, yet you can't put it down.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, fuck you, dude!
What?
For that game you gave me. That's not a bullet hell, it's a bullet hell and a fighting game all in one.
I was like, where is that directed?
Like Zez gave me a game from his Huntable bundle. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to like this. It seems more like a Wii game. And I'm like, it's not even a me game. I can't even figure out the fucking controls.
I forget what it was called. What was it called?
Listen, I'm trying to treat that game like a bad hangover and just sleeping it off, okay?
Is that all you've been up to, Rad? Is just Battlefield?
Pretty much. As much as I tell myself play other stuff, I keep playing that. Although a little while back I did play a Super Zelda 64 that ZiplockBob told me about.
Oh yeah, to where it's Ocarina of Time, but you're playing as Mario, and they piecemealed the games together somehow, and it was interesting.
Yes, it's a Super Mario 64 with the Ocarina of Time maps. Very weird.
Yeah.
Sounds thing.
It's like, I don't get, when I find ROM hacks, I don't just find any ROM hacks. I find ROM hacks that make you go, how did they make this? Like, how? Like, I found
what possessed you?
It's like, I found a ROM hack for Mario 64 to where it's a complete I think it's 110 star journey for this particular ROM hack. Its own levels, all that good stuff. Even has on like one of the first levels. You guys remember in Yoshi's Island, the level Touch Fuzzy Get Dizzy?
Yep.
Yeah, there's a 3D version of that, and there's a level to where it's just that in 3D.
Yeah, there's a ROM hack I played that had that too. And I played several Mario 64 ROM hacks. They're fun.
But this is the part that gets me about this ROM hack, and I cannot remember what it's called. It's one of the few ROM hacks to where it's made to be played in widescreen. Like, through the emulator.
That makes sense. That makes sense, though.
Like, you know, they added that functionality to where it plays in widescreen and, like, everything's not just pixel stretched or anything. Because if you did the exact same settings on any other game, it would just be pixel stretched.
Right.
But it's actually made to work that way. There's a widescreen version and a standard version. They fixed the camera to where it doesn't get hung up on everything. They brought back the frog suit, which makes me smile.
Getting froggy.
Hey, I love Mario 3. That frog suit was awesome when it was a water level.
Yes.
Remember, there was actually a special message if you beat one of the Koopa kids wearing the frog suit.
Which is surprisingly hard to do because, like, there's this weird delay with movement, but not with jumping. Like, if you tried to walk left and right, it'd just be hop, 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 hop. But if you just jumped everywhere, you're good. But you
what was the message?
Honestly, I don't remember. In my entire life, I've only seen that message like twice, and none of them were because I did it.
Yeah, it was probably because we were watching Did You Know Gaming or something like that. What else have I been playing? Or have I been trying to get Rad to play? Because don't get me wrong, Rad, watching your streams, you're like Bob Ross with a machine gun.
With
We're
happy little
just-
bullets.
We're just gonna put a happy little machine gun here, and it's gonna be pretty.
We're gonna put a claymore mine here. It's like, oh no, I didn't mean to put it there. Well, don't worry, someone's about to have a happy little accident.
Rad ASMR gaming streams.
Oh god, that would be an awesome series. Oh, what else?
Bob Ross plays Call of Duty.
He'd have to be in the Air Force just to be true to life. That's something a lot of people don't know.
Well, Bob Ross was in the Air Force.
Yeah. But everybody claims Mr. Rogers was like in the military. No, he wasn't. He has no military service jacket. Trust me, I looked.
I remember hearing that myth that Mr. Rogers wears all his sweaters because he's got like two tat sleeves going on.
Nope,
He
he wore them because his mother made them for him, and he was that type of guy. The only one he never wore on screen is the one that's in the Smithsonian because it's bright red, and the camera technology at the time didn't like that bright of a red.
Yeah, I completely understand that.
But Zez, what have you been playing?
I've been playing more NHL 18, still chasing my first Stanley Cup. Not going too well. I've also been playing They Are Billions and more. I was yesterday. Path of Exile dropped. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Either yesterday or Thursday. They dropped their new season called Incursion.
I know you were talking about that with me yesterday.
I don't know if it dropped yesterday or it dropped Thursday, but yeah,
I think it was Thursday.
So no more Pokemon?
I don't know. I don't know if that's still in there or not. I assume that it's in the standard mode, but I don't know.
Oh no, in the standard mode it wasn't in there at all. So, like you'd have to, because it's its own little quest tier.
No, what I mean is I think that they might have, when they patched it, right, they might have added it to the standard mode, and the Incursion with what's her name that does time travel now. Because you meet this NPC who's supposed to send you to this castle or whatever time travel things. Haven't played it, but I want to get into that. So I did open Path of Exile at least. I played some Soma last night. Psychotic robots on the bottom of the ocean. That's from the makers of Amnesia.
So it's Amnesia meets The Little Mermaid. It's a nightmare.
No, it's Amnesia meets BioShock.
Lovely.
I've also been. I was also playing Dead by Daylight. I was also streaming Dead by Daylight yesterday.
Yeah, and I made the snide comment. It's like, what are you playing? A wannabe Joker? And it was like this, a very bog standard festival clown sort of carnival dude. But it's just but it was like, you guys have been to a carnival, right?
Yeah.
Like, you ever seen some of the carnies just like on a smoke break?
Mm-hmm.
How they look 10 times creepier in that environment?
Yeah.
They're just sitting there with that, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Look on their face. That's exactly what that clown looks like to me.
Yeah, he's actually got a tragic backstory if you read into it.
All of them do.
Yeah, well, somewhat. The nurse is kind of twisted. Not a sad backstory. She's just kind of twisted. So they dropped a new build on their PTB, their public test server. They call it the public test build, which has the new content for their second anniversary. Which is going to have this DLC curtain call. It's going to have a new store, all this stuff. So I was streaming this yesterday before you came in, Bob. Before you came in, I got into a match ahead, and after the match, survivors got really salty at me and came into my chat and got insta-banned in my chat 4 times.
Wow.
They made accounts just to come in my chat and harass me. I'm like, you can keep coming back, keep giving me the views and whatnot. I'll take them and I'll just ban you. Z, who you had on last week, was also helping me mod that yesterday. Once he figured out what was going on, he was helping me with that because it was one person came back 4 times, and then their friends tried to come in as well. They also stream sniped me and tried to stream snipe getting my same match, and then when I killed them, DC'd. Yesterday was fun.
Yeah, they were dicks. I'm like, listen, if you found a tactic that is kicking my ass, that's one thing. I think it's incumbent upon me to figure out a way around it.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
But it's not fair play at all for me to go into your stream and start fucking with you, because that's like going one step way over the line, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pretty fucking big step when you start attacking the person.
Yeah, I was not tolerating it, so insta bans. So Twitch streamers who have a problem with banning, don't worry about it. I was gonna unban them, but I know that one or two of them are Twitch streamers. So after my stream, I went and hung out on their stream. Like, there's no way I'm gonna ban these people because I've already seen how toxic they were.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is if somebody's willing to just go, oh, this person kicked my ass and it's totally because they were cheating and blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't want you as part of my fucking community.
Right.
So I'll see where you're coming from on that.
Yeah, that was just the thing that happened to me that I wanted to share.
Speaking of community, let's talk about our wonderful sponsors, not sponsors, because we're not actually getting paid to say this shit. For our first unofficial sponsor, GatherBot.
Yay!
It's the bot that I use. It's basically how we fund this entire operation. You have free tips, sub-gifting, which will happen later on during this show. Little bot games, and you can actually earn, like, IRL rewards through it, such as, Steam gift cards and that sort of thing. It's rare, but it happens.
We also have Twitch Prime. So we would like to thank all of our subs who may or may not be using Twitch Prime, but we would like to send a reminder if you do have Twitch Prime. It's a free sub. Mine just came active this morning, I believe. So I need to use that. You can use it. It's a free sub. It doesn't hurt you. It's if you don't use it, it's kind of a waste of $5 or whatever value you want to put to it, because it's a $5 value sub.
Yeah, well, it's $100 a year.
It's 110 now, I think, for Twitch Prime, Amazon Prime, because they upped the price of it.
Okay.
Recently. It raised to 119.
Okay.
So Amazon Prime's now base price of 119 a year.
That's basically $10 a month.
Right.
Okay. So it's like that's half your value right there that you're kind of missing out on, because that's a free $5 sub. Also makes it to where you can watch stuff like this ad-free when it's being recorded. Lastly is our charity of the month, stackup.org, which honestly, put it very simply, it is an organization where they take veterans and civilian supporters to help veterans and active duty military through their Stack Supply Crates Air Assaults and Stack Up Overwatch programs, or STOP program for short. Zez, can you tell us about the supply crates?
Supply crates are packages full of geeky and techie goodness sent to deployed service members to help take their minds off of what they're dealing with. I assume, correct me if I'm wrong, this is similar to like a loot crate.
It's a little bit like a loot crate plus actual gaming gear. So one of the things that they've sent before was a couple PS4s, all the hookups and all that good stuff, and I think even TVs. some gaming mags because internet might not be a thing over there, and some actual games to play that are multiplayer centric, to where as many people can play at the same time as possible.
Right.
Also, they have air assaults, which are where they pick deserving veterans and pay for them. They basically pay for their airfare and lodging to attend stuff like Comic-Con, E3, PAX, and even dev studio tours. But that wraps up all of our sponsors / our charity of the month. So, Rad, why did Sega quit making consoles for the uninitiated?
Wow, Bob, thank you for asking. I had no idea what we were covering today, but it's okay. I have all my notes. So,
you don't have a note. You have a bibliography, dude.
So to understand why Sega doesn't make consoles anymore, most people think, oh, it's because the Dreamcast did terribly that they don't make consoles. Well, yes and no.
Yeah. I mean, Dreamcast's problem is that it ran to the PS2, but
that was kind of like the last nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
Exactly. There were many more nails before Sega Dreamcast was even a thought.
Should we start with the first nail, which was the Sega CD?
Sure. We'll go ahead and start with that. So let's everybody hop into your time machine and go back to 1991. Sega Genesis is out. Super Nintendo is out. It's we're in full swing of the console wars of the mid-90s, which honestly was a great time for gamers. So Sega wanted to try one up Nintendo. Nintendo. There were rumors of Nintendo trying to come up with a disc drive that attached to Super Nintendo. That eventually became PlayStation, but that
turned into the PlayStation and the. Oh God! I actually owned that piece of crap. I cannot remember what it's called.
Are you trying to think of the 3DO?
No, not the 3DO. The 3DO wasn't sponsored by Nintendo. It's the one with Hotel Mario, the horrible Zelda games that are on every YouTube poop.
Philips CDI.
Yeah, the Philips CDI. But yeah, that was actually where they went with that. And that was not good.
No, it was not. CD-based games in the early 90s, very, very hit or miss, usually miss. So anyways, the Sega CD. Sega came out with theirs in October of '92. It was designed to be added onto the Genesis console. So you put the Sega CD unit down, you put the Genesis console on top of it, and you have to plug them both in.
Right.
Each needed their own plug. And honestly, a Sega CD was pretty expensive. It was not cheap, even in those days.
Yeah, it was like it was close to $400.
Yeah, $370.
Yeah, it's $370, which is a lot of money nowadays. So imagine how it was over 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And eventually, even JVC made a little hybrid console towards the Sega CD, even though the Sega CD had to be hooked up to the.
Well, the JVC one, it was a 2-in-1.
Yeah, it was a 2-in-1. It was both of them together, so it was a hybrid. But they eventually did make a compact version of the Sega CD that Sega itself made. JVC made their own version, which was an oddity in itself.
But Sega undercut that for whatever reason.
Yeah. There's a lot of undercutting happening in this episode when we're talking about Sega's history here, and that shit adds up.
Yes, it does.
But
and for all the benefits that was advertised for Sega CD, honestly, the benefits weren't really there. Yeah, this was the thing of we could do full motion video in our video games, but it's not that good. It's really, if you want to watch movies, that's what the VCR is for.
FMV is really good right now.
And even the idea of, okay, it's a CD. It can hold more data, right? That means more levels. Because of the unique properties of CD technology at the time, programmers weren't used to the weren't savvy enough to use all the processing power that the Sega CD added quite yet, to where there weren't that many good games for the Sega CD. I think one of the few that stood the test of time was Sonic CD.
Yeah, Sonic CDs. Actually have it on Steam.
So do I, and it's awesome. But beyond that, meh.
Well, like the few games that Sega CD really pioneered was the Lunar series, if anybody ever heard of that, and Panzer Dragoon.
Yeah,
Panzer Dragoon. A lot of people's had a lot of. That's a cult following game. Like the people that know of it and actually played it back in the day, if you mention it, they're like, "Oh yeah, man!" You'll see them do the way back machine in their head.
I think Shenmue's kind of like that too.
Oh yeah, like I've never actually played Shenmue, and I'm still technically a fanboy because I'm like, I want to play it.
I don't think it's your kind of game though, Bob. To be honest.
No, it's not my type of game to stream. It's my type of game to play and like, okay, I'm going to go play Ridge Racer now.
Yeah. No, the mini games are great. Shenmue's a very it's a very specific demographic, I think.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a franchise that's for everybody. A lot of people will get bored with it.
Oh yeah.
But it did like a lot of the things that GTA 3 got really popular for. Shenmue did it first. You know,
yeah,
because of the open world, the daily timed routines, like being able to follow somebody as they go on their daily routine each different day. You know, Monday at 7 p.m. they're going to go to the flower shop.
Yeah,
8 o'clock they're going to go get the haircut. You know, they're going to go home at 9. It was based
off the 80s, wasn't it? Like a certain.
Yeah, it was set in 87. It was set in end of 86, early 87. Game Shenmue 2 starts on my birthday.
And if I remember right, in Shenmue 1, there is a mode where it doesn't affect anything gameplay wise, but you can have it simulate the weather patterns for the district that it's set in.
Yeah.
Based upon the time period, which is a nice little touch.
I'm excited about Shenmue 3, because you can't tell.
I had a feeling that was going to happen.
I had no idea.
To me, it's always been a bit of an anachronism to where I want to find out what it's all about, because I kind of missed that ship, because I didn't own a Dreamcast when my friends did, and all they owned was games that were kid friendly, and that was it really. So Sega 32X, I remember this mushroom.
Mushroom.
I didn't remember anything of the Sega CD, but I did remember the 32X because it was this mushroom that plugged into the top of the top of the Master System, or the Genesis.
Or Master System, yeah.
And basically, how you had to put in these two middle pieces to work as an RF shield. And if you had a certain model of Genesis, because there were 3 Genesis models, you had to put in this adapter plate, then put in the thing to where it wouldn't wiggle around. And it was basically a semi-permanent upgrade. It required an additional power cord, because you had to loop the AV from the Genesis to the 32, and from the 32 to your TV. And what was really crazy is you had all this crap, and Sega was like, yeah, this is how we're going to solve the solution that we obviously could have engineered our way out of. What we're going to do is start selling Sega branded power strips. I shit you not, that was a thing. But
I believe it.
And I think there was like 3 or 4, maybe. No, there's 3 games that launched for the 32X. There was Doom, a racing game, and like a Formula 1 racing game, and some other game. The Formula 1 game was actually the best of the 3 because it was almost arcade perfect.
Well, I'm assuming it was probably the F1 series.
Yeah.
Which went on for a while. I don't know. They may still do it. I don't know.
It was a crap Doom port with crappier sound and was actually missing levels.
And it was also windowed.
Oh yeah, it was windowed
Wow.
as well. Yeah.
I wonder
But
what
it was rushed in development.
I wonder with Sega's early consoles, was that like the real start of the current trend you have with the Sony and Microsoft trying to extend the life of their consoles with the Pro and the One X? I wonder if Sega was the one that started that with the 32X.
I don't think they're the first people who had the idea, but they're the first people who tried to implement it. Because even before then, Nintendo was looking into it with a CD add-on.
Okay.
And even with the 32X, there was a couple of games that weren't 32X games, weren't CD games. There were 32X CD games where you had to have the cartridge in and the CD in at the same time to get it to run.
Sounds stupid.
It was.
So that means that game was for a very niche market.
So basically, you had the 32X and a Sega CD gangbanging your poor Master System.
I can imagine going back then, and if the games were good, that's kind of like, oh my god, I can't believe they could do some of the the things that they can do.
But at the same time,
with that.
Yeah, but the 32X was seen by consumers and critics as a stopgap once they announced the Saturn, and it fragmented the market, and it was just a bad idea. Like, even though it was originally priced at $60, towards the end of the life cycle, you could buy it for $20 because they were on clearance.
Exactly. And you brought up the Saturn. Well, 32X was announced after the Sega Saturn. So, you announced your next generation console, but then you announced, oh yeah, we have a sort of previous generation console too.
That's like less like Nintendo gang. Yeah, we're gonna have the Switches coming out. Oh, we're gonna release the Wii U too.
No, it's not even that.
Exactly.
It's like the Switch is coming out. Oh yeah, and by the way, we're also announcing this great new add-on to the Wii U that we're also supporting. Why? The Wii U's been dead for a couple years, dude.
Yeah, so it was just, so why would you compete with yourself? You're cannibalizing sales from yourself.
I did do some research, and it's interesting what happened here. Sega was originally an American company started by a couple Americans in Japan.
Okay, did not know that.
There were a couple of military guys. I was like, hey, what they did is they started the company in Japan and used their connections to like import like.
I'm assuming they were stationed overseas.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of the machines with the balls, pachinko machines.
Yeah, pachinko.
Yeah, they'd start off with like a little arcade and pachinko machines. They're originally like, hey, we make stuff for arcades, right? And that's how they got some of the stuff over here in the U.S. So Sega of America, the new president was like, listen, the Master System is having its second run. We don't need to make another 32 bits, or we don't need to make a 32-bit system here, because at the time, people was like, the buzzword was bits. It wasn't microtransactions. It wasn't DLC. It wasn't gaming as a service. It wasn't live service.
It wasn't cheering. It wasn't cheering because of watching ads.
Yeah, it was, 8 bits, like with the Jaguar is like, the Super Nintendo has 16 bits. The PlayStation has 32 bits. The Jaguar has 64 bits. Do the math.
Exactly, because everybody wanted the latest and greatest.
Yeah, but they didn't realize that, wait, maybe if it might be the latest and greatest hardware-wise, but if we can't program good software for it, hardware is worthless. So,
True, but
that being said, what happened here was, why did the 32X and Saturn, like, why did that debacle even happen? The Americans decided to make the 32X, while Japan, in secret, made the Saturn, right? And they announced the 32X right when the Saturn got announced by Sega of Japan at the same CES. It was a shit show. On top of that, the 32X, there was never there was a demo for a Sega game for it. Never happened. The closest you got on, I think, the Saturn was Sonic or Knuckles Chaotix.
Yeah, that was the closest you got to an actual Sonic game for the Saturn. There was Sonic Extreme, I think it was called. There was like a demo for Sega Saturn for an actual Sonic game, but it was never finished.
Yeah, that was the one. Okay, yeah, there was a demo for it, but you never actually got a Sonic game out of it. Oh, speaking of, like, you know, that ad I mentioned, it's like that E3, because this was like one of the first E3s out there. There's like, yeah, we're scheduling the launch for November. Oh wait, no. We're releasing it early to beat PlayStation. Told it at E3. Did not tell their retailers. The retailers had no time to do anything, so the retailers were pissed to the point where KB Toys, which was had the biggest market share in like toy sales at the time, boycotted them completely for it.
Yeah. KB Toys at one point was bigger than Toys R Us.
Yeah,
that's great business sense. We're gonna alienate the largest, toy retailer just because we wanted to get the system out early. Good job, Sega.
Yeah, let's go system out and not tell Amazon.
Exactly. Yeah, you have contracts with Amazon and Amazon and Walmart. You have contracts with them. Okay, we're going to bring out this console on September the 1st of this year. But we're going to announce, unbeknownst to Amazon, that, hey, Walmart has them right now, June the 1st. What do you think Amazon's going to do?
The same thing they did with Google Chrome, just because they didn't want to compete with Google Chrome or Google Chrome sticks. They just quit selling them.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Now, the thing is that wasn't the only bad thing that happened with the Sega Saturn. There's a lot that happened here. So, the president of Sony goes up and was like, okay, it's our turn. Well, they've already said everything that that our PlayStation has and said how their stuff's better. It's like, $299, walks off.
And yes, this is on video. There is video of this.
He just walks up, looks at his business cards, tosses them to the side. $299, walks off.
And then just walks off stage. And that was their entire press conference for that.
That is a Sony thing to do, though.
Because that has been their thing. This was the first instance that they did it.
Well, Sony's weird. Like if you talk about the kind of current gen situation, if you remember, the PS3 came out and it was $699, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
PS3 was $600 at launch. It was like
$600. Okay, $599. And the 360 was what, $400?
Mm-hmm.
I believe so. Yes.
So, and then you flip it around, and the PS4 and Xbox One are coming out. The Xbox One launches at $500.
And they undercut them by $100.
Right, exactly. And it was like, and I forget how. I think it was Sean Layton. I forget how he did it, but it was that same kind of display. We're just going to stick it to our competitors.
Remember the Kevin Butler commercials?
Yeah.
Yep, I remember him.
Oh God. First off, I'm sad that entire situation, and that could almost be a podcast in its own of just talking about video game commercials. Or like the high up companies like Nintendo, Sony, and just limit it to them and not the actual games themselves. But yeah, they even had a big hoopla when like the PS3 dropped in price. To where it's like the guy had this huge commercial to where it's like he was saying, no, we're not doing that. You can't just believe whatever you read on the internet. Meanwhile, there's all this merchandising stuff that's obviously being shipped out saying that the price was being lowered in the background. So, yeah, Sony undercutting the competition. This was one of their first things they did. That really hurt the Saturn because, to be honest, I didn't even know the Saturn existed until I looked at it in a retrospective sense. Like, hey, what happened with this? Because I knew about the 32X. I did not know about the Sega CD, right? And I didn't know about the Saturn. I'm like, oh man, Sega's not making consoles anymore? What happened? And I found out about the Saturn afterwards. So a lot of this is just me looking at it from a historical point of view than a gamer. But, like, apparently there wasn't that many games released for the thing, or at least not in a timely manner.
No, they only supported the Saturn for 3 years. Yeah, because Dreamcast is coming, so all people developing games for the Saturn, well, we're developing for Dreamcast now. But what about all the money we put in developing for the Saturn? Well, too bad. We're on Dreamcast now. So that means you just threw away all that money. You may as well have tossed it in the shredder. Same benefit.
Apparently,
working for Sega is that same benefit.
I mean, I think that in their approach was kind of like, you put consoles out more, you can get large chunks of money from people quicker. Which I think is what their thought process was behind that.
Which is completely backwards, because if you look at how most companies make money, like, how does Microsoft make money off the Xbox? They don't sell that many consoles. No, but they sell games, right? Mm-hmm. Or games for the consoles. And it's licensing rights. Like, for every copy of a game that they have nothing to do with other than it's, let's say Grand Theft Auto 5, right? Every copy of Grand Theft Auto 5 for the Xbox One that is sold, Microsoft gets a cut.
Right.
It's a licensing deal.
Similar to with the whole PUBG Fortnite thing going on right now. I'm sure that PUBG has to pay Epic to use Unreal Engine.
Yeah, either they had it up front in the license, or they had a percentage.
Yeah, out of the royalties, yeah.
Or a combination.
Yeah, you pay like a nominal fee up front along with a percentage of royalties.
Yeah, I mean, well, because for indie developers, Unreal Engine is free-ish until you sell a certain amount.
So ADR Jocko did bring up something important when it comes to like selling consoles. Sony actually did, I think, for 3 or 4 years, they were selling PS3s at a loss, to where they'd make up money on, well, Blu-ray discs as what. So one, they'd win the format wars, and two, so they knew they'd be able to make their money back on the licensing between Blu-ray discs in general. As well.
having a built-in Blu-ray player as opposed to the 360, and Microsoft having the external HD DVD drive.
Yeah, exactly. When PS3 first launched, as we covered earlier, it was about $600. Actual value for Sony to break even would have been $1,000 a console.
Because of the Blu-ray player.
Yeah, but clearly that's a lot of people are not going to buy it if it's priced that high.
Right.
Yeah, just ask 3DO.
Even $600 is kind of pushing it. So yeah, that's kind of that's the new business model. That's why consoles are so cheap, well, relatively speaking, when they first come out, even though it's worth more than that.
Yeah, and it's going to drop. And it's going to drop in the near future anyway. So
exactly, because of economies of scale.
Okay. ADR Jocko did bring up another point, and this is something I've always wanted to say on the podcast. Yes, Sony did lose the Betamax versus VHS format because of porn, but here's something that all investors need to learn. If you want to know who's going to win format wars, follow gaming and porn. Yeah, no joke.
Exactly. Because they're most they're the most in tune with recording things, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever they gravitate to, everything else is going to kind of follow it.
Well, it's more of a porn is like one of those things to where the industry is made to is like, okay, how can we record at the highest quality for the lowest cost? If it's not, if the production costs are too high, they're not going to go with, say, HD DVD.
Isn't porn like the most profitable industry in the world? As far as profits go?
Wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know for sure.
I would like to see the numbers on that in either case.
So Ziploc can actually say he needs porn for research purposes.
I don't need to watch porn for research. I just need to see the numbers.
You need it for the articles.
God damn it! I've actually said that before. I'll read it for the articles. What, I was a loser and I needed to figure out how to, like, schmooze my way around. All right.
I think Ziploc Bob needs a body pillow.
Are you kidding me? I'm overweight. I am a body pillow. Okay, enough dicking around. Let's talk about the last great white hope, which was the Dreamcast. Okay, oh my god, the homebrew scene still exists for this fucking thing. And it's thriving.
It does. Last I heard, this is probably outdated at this point. The latest new game to come out for Dreamcast was about 2015. Somewhere around there, some German studio came out with a game for it.
Yeah, and there was a lot that killed the Dreamcast, and it was not just a PS2.
Yeah, I mean it's all the
missteps Sega made.
Well, at first it wasn't, but then after 2 years, it was easy. Dreamcast used what's called a GD-ROM, which was supposed to be, harder to copy and stuff like that. Because when it came out, not many people had access to CD read-write drives, for burning discs.
Yeah, they were relatively new at that point.
Well, let me tell you exactly what happened wrong, and I'll let you guys debate from there. Okay. So, those discs you used to get in magazines, right? You get demos and stuff. There was a Game Shark demo, right? And a particular European magazine that was very Sega-centric, right? And what somebody found out that if you had a copy of a game, like an illegal copy, it wouldn't work until you use that particular Dream Shark code. So everybody started circulating that son of a bitch around because they printed plenty of them. And the final version of Game Shark, it did not have that problem, but it was too little too late. And piracy became rampant because of it.
Well, the reason why you mentioned the homebrew scene, the homebrew scene is still active for Dreamcast because you don't need to solder any special chips or anything. You can literally download a game off the internet, burn it to disk, put it right in the console, and play it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We've figured out the special pre-boot code now, so we don't even need that much.
Well, it was also the thing that Dreamcast games, you could also put them in your PC and access special features like a movie or images.
Mm-hmm. You can actually do that with PlayStation games as well. If I remember right, some games had they didn't compress it to where your MP3 if your CD player could read MP3s, the CD player could actually play those discs, play that music. In early PlayStation games, because I know that was true with Castlevania Symphony of the Night. But yeah,
I remember that one.
But yeah, it was released in 9999 Dreamcast Day. It did have a lot of firsts.
Yeah, yes, it did. Had the first one with the online gaming. Dreamcast was the first one to have a modem built in.
Yep.
Yes, it was dial-up.
Yep.
That's all there was. But Star Ocean Online.
One of the accessories you could get for it was a broadband modem. And the one I have has the broadband modem on it, which is pretty nice.
Nice. Yeah, I know they have Star Ocean Online. I think there's even fan servers for the thing to keep it running now.
Yeah, they had Marvel vs. Capcom 2. That's considered the superior port of the arcade game.
Yeah, because it was arcade perfect. Or
Yeah,
as close to arcade perfect.
Going back to Phantasy Star a little bit. Wasn't that one of the games they ported over to Xbox?
Phantasy Star Online? No.
Yeah.
I think they had because it was Phantasy Star Online episode blah. I think some of the later episodes went over to Xbox, but not
I thought
the
it went
original.
over. I thought it went over, and that's why it would still. One of the reasons that the servers would still be active, but I could be wrong on that.
No, I know that all servers that were Dreamcast specific, like they're completely.
I think what Zez is referring to is a Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 that was eventually ported to GameCube and Xbox, the OG Xbox.
But like it wasn't like how Episode 1 and 2 used to be two separate discs. If that makes sense.
Yep.
Or it's more of a remaster. But as far as the servers, how it works is like the Dreamcast had a certain architecture, right? So the reason the Dreamcast servers are still up are because they're fan servers. And trust me when I say, holy crap, these people are fervent in their dedication.
Yeah, there are people actually still play Unreal Tournament on Dreamcast.
Yep.
But it's Unreal though. That's an awesome game. Yeah, but
video game companies, take note. Give us the option for private servers.
we will. It's like, give us an option of private servers, even if you can't do much with them. Like, even if it's I have to make a character just for that server, I'll be okay. But then again, they're also not making money off of it anymore, so why would it benefit them? But
for consumer goodwill, I would say. But again, like you said, you can't really quantify that.
But also, there's what do you call it? Sonic Adventure 2, Power Stone. There was a lot of good games on that thing.
Yeah.
Like Sonic Adventure wasn't that great for the time, or it was great for the time for about 6 months. But it was like that first, holy crap, we can Sonic in 3D.
And it actually somewhat works.
Even though, back then, it's like, the voice acting sucked, but back then we didn't mind. We were just happy to have
because, yes, we had voice acting.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, I was just pissed it wasn't Jaleel White. I'm serious. That was my only scruple with it back then. It's like, I wanted Jaleel White as Sonic. I still want that. That's who Sonic is in my head. Yes, I'm a 30-year-old man-child. Bite me.
Well, there was never any doubt about that, Ziploc.
Dreamcast also had Gauntlet, too.
Yeah. There was a lot of arcade ports. Like, we were talking about Shenmue earlier, and that thing cost, like, Shenmue 1 and 2 unfortunately cost Sega more money than they put into it.
Yeah. Shenmue 2 is the only game I've ever imported.
Now, do remember this. Sega Bass Fishing with that weird fucking controller.
Yep. And you had Seaman. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, it was Seaman.
Oh yeah, that like fish with like
with
a
the
human
fish
face.
face?
It was
Yeah.
weird.
Mhm. But you also
Very
had stuff
very
like,
Japanese.
well, I wouldn't say very Japanese. They had Leonard Nimoy in the game doing narration work.
Yeah, he's getting a paycheck.
Yeah, I know what that was, but still. Let's see, you had Skies of Arcadia, which was a great RPG. Jet Set Radio, which is a very fun arcade game.
Yes, I love Jet Set. Both of them.
Like, a lot of the better games got ported.
Yep.
But also you got, hey, welcome to Crazy Taxi.
Crazy Taxi, yep. Space Channel 5.
Choo Choo Rocket, which was a weird puzzle game with online multiplayer support. That was actually one of the first multiplayer games out there. No joke. Or online multiplayer.
Had Rez. I still want that bodysuit from Res Infinite.
I think the weirdest game on the entire thing that I played, where I'm just like, what? Because like, and the reason why I say it's weird, not because like, oh my god, it's a Japanese thing, it's so weird. No, it's weird because I'm like, we have no context for this yet. Was the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure game?
Yep.
That came out. I'm like, oh no, why? But yeah, it had a very varied catalog. But like, there was also some really interesting games like Ikaruga, which eventually got ported over to the GameCube. It's a color-coded bullet hell game, to where all the dots were either black or white. If your ship was white, you get hit with a white dot, it didn't hurt. If your ship was black, you got hit with a black dot, didn't hurt. But if your ship was black, got hit with a white dot, it hurt. And it was hard as shit. Because I remember playing that on the GameCube and breaking controllers.
Speaking of breaking controllers, I've never actually broken a controller. I have thrown one once, a long time ago, but it still works, and I still have it.
For me, that depends on how you define breaking a controller.
Okay, from overuse, that doesn't count. I'm talking about rage breaking, to where you're just like, throw it and like, oh, I broke the stick. Crap.
Right. I've never smashed a controller, but I have done things where the analog sticks stop working, the rubber comes off the analog sticks.
Oh yeah, from overuse, that does not count. That means that you had that thing was loved to death.
Or you just dropped it a lot.
Like, I have loved 3 of these to death so far. And it's usually like, it's always usually either one of the gem buttons, the A, B, X, Y, or for some reason the right bumper. Speaking of controllers, Zez, while you're down there, just saying.
Charging my PS4 controller. As we were
You're
talking
like,
about.
oh shit, speaking controllers.
Right, exactly.
Speaking controllers.
My PS4 is down there, and the cable's like that big.
Oh.
I hate the PS4 cables.
Memory cards. You remember those, right, Zez?
Yeah.
The Dreamcast had the weirdest memory card.
Yeah, the VMU that's stuck inside the you stuck it inside the controller.
Yeah, but it was also like, you'd like say with certain games, like, oh, I can play a little mini game with this because I have this game. Like,
yeah,
the Chow
stuff. You can take it with you. Right, you can take it with you and have like your little Tamagotchi.
Yeah. let's not bring that up. I had a Tamagotchi problem once. I was a child.
I don't think
Back then,
anything's changed.
it was a Tamagotchi or Furby. Pick your poison.
My parents bought me a Furby, and fun fact, my stepmom used to wake me up in the morning by yelling downstairs, because I lived downstairs, parents lived upstairs, right? It was a split foyer type deal, so technically it wasn't the basement. Not even I'm not that fucking stereotypical. But she would be like, she would yell my middle name. Then my Furby got to the point to where it glitched, and all it would say was my name over and over again at random intervals. Because I'd never played with the damn thing.
This is like a parrot.
And I'm just
Bob? Bob?
I was like, I need to find I need to find a butter knife to undo the thing. Okay, take the batteries out. Trash. But it was a little black and green thing.
The late 90s were weird for toys.
Yeah, they were.
They were just trying stuff.
Yeah.
Furbies are like the creepiest things ever.
Dear God, yeah. I think I'd rather have an Annabelle doll.
I don't know if you guys ever heard this game called Tattletale. But it's basically somebody made a video game version of a Furby doll. It was Chucky.
Mm-hmm.
And the game's called Tattletale.
That's a little too true to life. Like, Zez, you're not allowed to buy that for me? Or get someone to buy it for me?
I bought it for one of our other friends, Bob.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that to me?
They couldn't finish the game.
I will scream and just no.
See? Bad idea, Bob. Bad idea.
All right. No, you don't get it. Like, I will legit have nightmares. You're just not allowed. Motherfucker, I bought you a keyboard. Don't you dare do that shit to me. Honestly, I like the idea of the VMU, right? Because it made it to where, yes, it's a memory card. Memory cards got lost all the time, right? But this makes it to where it has some sort of utility, and that was a nice little add-on. So yeah, it does have a lot of interesting features as far as like the Dreamcast. But honestly, if I was a games developer, I wouldn't want to do business with them at this point.
Oh no, what's to stop them from discontinuing the Dreamcast overnight and going on to the next console?
Because if they didn't get burnt by the Saturn, they probably got burnt by the 32X or the Sega CD or both.
So it comes a point that doing business with them becomes a liability because you don't know what they're going to do.
And they probably didn't have enough of a market share, so why not go to like your PlayStations or wait for the PS2 to come out, which you probably already got the SDK for.
Yeah, there's the software development kits. That's what developers need to actually make games for your console. Yeah, Sega was very slow in releasing those usually.
Yeah, and as far as SDKs, like they became a thing after Nintendo, because it was like, oh wait, Nintendo had a chokehold to the point to where they actually got hit with antitrust lawsuits because their licensing agreements made it to where you could not make a game for them and someone else, and you were limited on how many games you could make per year for them.
Why would you limit how many games they can make?
Because there was a lot of people making way too many games for the Atari, and that's what caused the video game crash. The market was
That
so
really
flooded that games were getting pushed out before they were even completed. This isn't like today where you could have a patch, Zez. Which
Well,
I still don't agree would make...
I understand limiting, restricting so that it was exclusive to your console.
Mm-hmm.
But limiting how many they could produce, I don't, that really doesn't make sense to me.
It was 10 a year per publisher.
So EA can't put out,
20 games.
But
But
can't put out FIFA, NHL, NBA, Madden, Mass Effect, Dragon Age.
No, but you know how EA would get around that? EA Big would put out 10 sports titles. BioWare would put out 10 RPGs.
So they would use their sub-companies as well?
Their subsidiaries. But smaller companies was like, listen, these games don't take that much to make, and we're not making like Legend of Zelda over here. We're making hockey, table tennis, Pong. The fuck, man.
It seemed like a technical loophole, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
Okay.
they actually got hit with antitrust law over that. But Dreamcast had the opposite problem to where people could make as many games as they want. Nobody wanted to make games for them anymore because that wasn't where the market share was. And that's what killed the Dreamcast.
Oh, it wasn't necessarily the market share. It's just, Sega's so unstable. I mean, we could have spent $2 million developing this game, and Sega could say, new console, $2 million. Sorry about that.
Who here has been in a bad relationship to where the person you were intimate with was fucking nuts? Show of hands. Really, just me, you assholes. Okay. So, this is the analogy this is a piece of advice that's the only good piece of advice I've ever given any of my siblings when it comes to relationships. Be careful what you ask for when you say, I want an exciting relationship. Because, for example, this is a very exciting relationship with Sega. You don't know if the game you're making is going to be like, going to sell on a console that is still viable, or if they're going to quit making the console the day after you release it. That's exciting. It's also fucking nerve-wracking. And this was a huge case of like, it'd be like if I went home every day and I'm like, okay, I got off of work, I did my 9 to 5, and I didn't know if she's gonna be like, hey baby, how's it going? I just what? It's like got the groceries so you can cook, or hey baby, where the fuck you been? I've been at work. No, I'm not sleeping around on you. No. The woman on my phone's my boss.
She sounds hideous.
That's
Hi,
my
I'm Jake.
mother. That sort of thing. To where I'm just like, what the fuck? I heard you tell someone you loved them on the phone. I called my mom. The fuck, woman. And it was that sort of instability to where it's just like they didn't know what they were going to get out of the business relationship. To where it's like, why the fuck would they stick around? I wouldn't.
That's exactly it. That's why Sega doesn't do consoles, because it didn't make business sense for them to keep trying to ride that horse when it's not going anywhere.
But their software production is really good now.
Oh yeah.
As long as they're not making Sonic games, yeah.
No, their Sonic games do really well. Not
They
as well
sell
as
well
they
because they're
want them
Sonic. They don't sell well because they're necessarily good. Their last good Sonic game was
Right.
them hiring fan people because Sonic Team can't make a
to.
Sonic
Right.
game.
I never said the Sonic game was good. I just said they do well.
Okay. I was just
That-
making
that's-
sure. I'm just like, what the fuck? And here's the thing. I love Sonic. I do. I really, really, really do.
Mm-hmm.
But Sonic 4 episode 1 and 2 shouldn't have been a thing.
That should have been Sonic. It should have been a game. It should have been released as a whole game, not just.
Well, it's not just that. It's just like the entire homing attack idea does not work on a 2D Sonic. because it causes problems with control.
And also for Sonic 4, the physics were weird for anybody who'd grown up with the other 2D Sonics.
It was slippery in the worst way. And it was hard to get Sonic to go where you wanted him to go. But yeah, it's like, yeah, they still make games. They still license out Sonic to be in good, or at the very least decent games, because even the shovelware titles he was in, like Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, like that entire series, for a shovelware title, it wasn't awful. It was weird, but it wasn't awful.
Well, it just shows that Sega still has their creativity. That the Dreamcast had, like we just mentioned with the VMU. They have some very creative ideas.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't mean necessarily good to see Sonic Unleashed, but
don't you want Sonic to be a werewolf, a werewolf?
Honestly, if you took the werehog levels out of it, Sonic Unleashed is not that bad. That's the sad part.
No, but isn't that what you want from Sonic? Him to be a werewolf?
Really. I don't feel like having God of War wanted. I don't feel like having God of War combat sections in my Sonic the Hedgehog game.
I thought everybody wanted Sonic to be a werewolf.
What Ziploc wants is he wants Sonic to have big glasses and basically be a nerd, and say, "Did I do that?"
That's no good. Sonic says.
That's the bottom line because Sonic said so.
You remember the cartoon, like after the things that had Sonic Says?
Yeah.
The little PSAs?
I remember those.
But
I also remember Sonic had 2 cartoons on at the same time.
Yeah, and one just got, and they're both called Sonic the Hedgehog, and was really confusing to get it. You have to remember, it was like, now we call one Sonic Sat AM and the other one Sonic the Hedgehog. But I like the dark and grittier one that had 2 seasons.
Well, I remember there was one that was just Sonic Tails at Robotnik, as he was known back then, and it's still his name. Thank you very much.
Yep.
And
his name is Ivo Robotnik. Damn it.
And the other one was like Sonic and Friends. You had like Amy, Knuckles, and
that was done post adventure.
Yeah, you had. Well, no, you didn't have Amy. You had this female fox princess chick. Remember that at all? It was set in Mobius. I do remember that much. But like it had a more darker anime-esque storyline. When I say anime-esque, I mean like Naruto levels of dark, not like Berserk levels of dark. We're not seeing like poor woodland creatures being eviscerated by a giant fucking sword here. But for the show, that's pretty much it. All we have left is the giveaway. So, Rad, pick somebody that's been talking in the chat. I know it's a huge list this week.
Well, it's really between ADR Yako and Gatherbot.
I can't give him a sub.
So yeah, I don't care about Skynet. So ADR Yako, you're it. You're a special gift sub for this episode.
Well, I'll take care of that while you take about 5 minutes to tell the lovely people out there who you are.
I am RadHazard. Don't forget the 1, because there is only one RadHazard. Well, there's multiples, but just go with it.
I was gonna say that sounds like it's wrong.
And it has been a pleasure sitting alongside ZiplockBob and Zez. Sorry, there's a couple people I know whose names start with Z, so
You're like, wait,
Sure,
which
pick-
one? Oh, don't worry. I called Zez Z and Zez all the time.
Mm-hmm. He did it on last week's show
Yeah.
when I wasn't here.
I'm like, God bless it. And hey, it actually worked quickly this time, and it didn't glitch out, so I didn't have to yell at Stuffy Hood saying, "Hey, fix this." Or not Stuffy Hood, Stuff-A-Lot. Stuffy Hooves is the guy that did my artwork. But yeah, if you like, somebody who is a great chill streamer and a pretty awesome dude that will carry his half of the conversation, head over to twitch.tv/RadHazard1. And then you can also yell at him on Twitter at 1RadHazard over on Twitter. I'm ZiplockBob. You can find me at twitch.tv/ZiplockBob.
AKA the channel you're watching currently.
But if you're watching this in the future, up on YouTube, because this does go live 2 weeks from its initial recording, you can find me there. You can find me at Twitch or Twitter at ZiplockBob. You can find Zez at twitch.tv/the_Zez. And holy crap, this guy plays a lot of Zez by Daylight. I mean, Dead by Zezlight. I mean, Dead by Daylight.
I don't play it anywhere near as much as I used to.
Yeah, there was a time where if you guys use Discord, it has a feature where it says username now playing game title. It was always now playing Dead by Daylight. Even when he was watching other streams, like say watching me stream or like our friend Mouse or Z stream, it would still be saying that shit because he could not get off. He was addicted.
I play games on watching streams all the time.
No, I'm just saying it was that one game to where it's just like, user has 2,976 hours playing.
Not accurate. Not accurate. I can actually tell you how many hours I have in it.
Oh, please. I know it's way over
100.
100.
I believe it's 1,100.
Jesus fuck.
Yes, it's exactly 1,100 hours.
My point is proven. However, if you guys can catch this on twitch.tv/BottleRocketGaming. You can catch Zez on Wednesdays on twitch.tv/BottleRocketGaming. And you can even catch Red on Tuesdays at twitch.tv/BottleRocketGaming. And if there are links down below for where to find MP3 versions of this podcast, both in iTunes and non-iTunes forms. I've been ZiplockBob. I will see you guys next time.